Greetings, AMCers. John Campy here, and we are at the beautiful AMC Theaters in Century City. And look who I'm joined by. I've got David Schwimmer here with me, director of the new film, Trust. And David, before we go into anything, for those people who don't know about Trust yet, just tell us about the film.
Oh, right. Trust is a film that I've been developing over the past 7 years. It originated from the work that I do with this organization called the Rape Foundation, and on which I serve as a board of directors. I'm on the board of directors. And it really came out of my involvement with this organization and meeting some amazing young people, some teenage victims of sexual assault. And in this case, our story is really about a young girl who meets someone online who is not who he pretends to be, and she falls for him. Actually, she's becomes really emotionally invested in him and falls in love with him, really. And it's not until they finally meet in person that she realizes he's much older than he said. And it's really the story about what happens to this entire family, and in particular the relationship between the father, who's played by Clive Owen, and the daughter, who's played by Leanna Liberato. And
who's amazing, by the way.
Oh, yeah, she's great. And what happens to their relationship when this event happens.
And one of the things that I found really intriguing about the film, even before I watched it, was when people think of David Schwimmer, they naturally gravitate towards thinking about comedy, both as an actor in your film and television career, and as a director, having done Run Fat Boy Run. You talked a little bit about the involvement you have in these different organizations, but the fact that this is so different from the comedy stream that you've done before, did that make doing this film more appealing for you, or did it make it a little more intimidating for you?
I wasn't intimidated by it, I wouldn't say it was even more. I think it was more appealing to me because I have such personal investment in the issue and in the subject matter, and it's, as I said, something I've been developing for 7 years, and it's just something close to my heart. So I didn't even think that, I didn't question whether I should try to do it or not. My background is in a lot of theater and storytelling, and whether it's mostly drama actually and some comedy. So I just knew it was a story I wanted to tell, and of course it's a dramatic subject. So the trick was actually trying to find the humor and the moments of levity and warmth within this fairly tough material.
Because humor in films like this, when it's introduced in dramas like this, sometimes the humor can feel really heavy-handed, and you didn't do that.
Oh, good. I'm glad.
I thought that came across really well. Now, you mentioned Clive Owen, who is fantastic in this movie. He really sells that role of the father and the relationship you were talking about. What made Clive Owen right for playing the father in this movie?
Well, I think there were several reasons that he was, I think, the perfect casting. One is that you expect that this is a dad who's, when this happens to his family and happens to his daughter, you expect that Clive Owen's the guy who's going to hunt this guy down, find him, and just kill him. As any father, that's their instinct, any parent, that's your instinct. And what's interesting is that that's not really what happens. That's not reality. And in a way, this is a very un-Hollywood movie because it handles the subject matter with, I think, more realism. I mean, the other reason I think he's perfect for the part was that when he got the script, coincidentally, he's got 2 daughters this age, and when he received the script, it was the day that he had a computer expert coming to his house to consult with him on internet safety for his family. So it's something that he I think responded to very personally, and I think when you see his performance, it's unlike anything I've seen him do before. I think it hits him in a way that it's very real, and it's a very emotional performance for him, I think.
One of the things that I found a lot of filmmakers have difficulty in doing is crafting the uncomfortable, and sometimes, very often, that just doesn't work. You have several moments in this film that are, in all the right ways, so painful to watch in the right ways. I think in particular of the scene where the sexual assault happens.
Right.
It felt so real and so awkward and so painful. Were you how worried were you about doing that? I mean, I would think that even if I was on set, I would have felt completely uncomfortable and awkward.
Yeah, well, to be honest, it's a pivotal scene. It's a crucial scene in the film, and I wanted to handle it with taste and responsibility, and it not feel gratuitous in any way. And I'm very proud of that scene, and especially proud of the two performers. Not only Leanna, who's 14-year-old actress at the time, but also Chris, who plays the Predator, who's an older actor. It was as tough a scene for him to shoot as for Leanna. But I think the trick was a lot of it is implied what happens and left up to your imagination. And I think sometimes your imagination is a lot more horrifying when you fill in the gaps than showing everything. And I didn't want it to be gratuitous. I wanted it to be somewhat restrained, and I think it is. So
it's such a pivotal scene because the effect of that scene is what makes everything else that comes after it works. It feels like now. This film is a part of, and we're very proudly a part of the AMC Independent Program.
Yeah.
And I was just wondering, as a filmmaker, what does it mean for somebody like you and for a film like Trust, for there to be a program like AMCI out there for Trust to show on the screens?
I mean, to be honest, it's huge because a film like this we don't have a lot of money. The actors and I, probably did it at great personal cost, actually, because you don't have a lot of money to make a movie like this. The only way, it's like the little engine that could in that storybook. It's like the only way you can compete with films that have millions and millions of dollars for publicity and advertising is through programs like this, partnering with organizations like AMC and the other organizations that we hope to partner with, and get the word out from like a grassroots level. So it's really up to word of mouth and help from AMC and organizations, and also hopefully the film itself will speak for itself. I think more than anything, the performances and the subject matter are really what I hope people come away with something. So
it's a strong message in the film. It's a great cause that you're kind of getting behind by pushing this film. And folks, I just want to remind you that underneath this video you'll find links where you can get location information, ticket purchase information for Trust. David, thanks again for joining us, and thank you for making this film.
No, my pleasure.
And congratulations on expanding beyond what our perceptions of you have been, and we really look forward to seeing what you're doing in the future.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thanks.